I'm Jim Wolf, and this is ArtWorks, a show dedicated to the arts and artists of West Virginia. The Mountain Craft Film Festival, West Virginia's newest film festival, takes place September 29 and 30, 2023, at the historic Robinson Grand Performing Arts Center in downtown Clarksburg. The inaugural year of the festival will showcase 4 independent feature-length documentary films by local filmmakers, as well as countless short films from other filmmakers across Appalachia. By showcasing these captivating stories, Mountain Craft aspires to illuminate the rich tapestry of Appalachian culture and to shed light on the diverse perspectives, struggles, triumphs, and nuances of the region. Today, I'm pleased to welcome Justin Litton, the Mountain Craft Film Festival Director, and the Film Festival's Communications Director, Ben Barry. Justin and Ben, welcome to ArtWorks.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here and chat about what we have planned.
It's great to have you guys here. Very excited to learn more about the festival. Let's just start with the name of this festival. Justin, why is it called Mountain Craft, and what's the significance of that?
I know it may seem to a lot of people like we just did that out of vanity, because that's of course the name of our production company and creative studio.
Okay.
But we did bat around some different ideas, and at the end of the day we decided to land on the name Mountain Craft because we thought it was still representative of the region in a general way that we liked. And then also at the end of the day, it kind of meant that we had to own it a little bit. And when we came in and committed to doing it, our name is on it, so we have to do this as well as we possibly can. So for us, it was just a little bit of the kick in the pants that we needed, and a reminder that, hey, at the end of the day, our name is on this thing, so we need to make it as good as we've said that we know that we can do a film festival.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's motivation.
Yeah,
right?
for sure,
yeah.
for sure.
And Ben, Justin mentioned the studio. Tell us a little bit about it. So you guys are in, you don't just put on film festivals, you're in business together. What is Mountain Craft?
Yeah, so we're very new to film festivals actually. So we got our start, it's been 10 years ago now. I started Mountain Craft, and my desire out of college, which was when I started the company, was to start my own business. And I have a bachelor's in science and digital cinematography, so I kind of knew film was going to be part of the journey, but it wasn't until Justin joined about 2 years into that venture that we really, after talking about it and thinking, okay, what do we want our future as Mountain Craft to look like? We really wanted to focus on video, and that was the main thing, video production, and doing that to the highest possible quality. So since that time, that's been 7 years since Justin joined. It's just been a constant search of how do we do our craft, which is video production, at the highest possible quality, and be there for our clients, and kind of keep evolving as the video space evolves.
Nice. And your company's based in Fairmont.
Yes.
And just who's involved in the company these days, and what kinds of projects are you doing?
Yeah, so we have 7 team members currently. So Justin and I kind of oversee everything that goes on. He's more on the operations and the production side, and then I'm on the business development side, bringing in new clients, taking care of current clients, and then we have a senior producer, Taylor Napier, who handles all of our field work and makes sure we stay organized, quite frankly, when we're going on set. And then we have 2 editors, our senior editor, Aaron Griffin, and then our newest editor, Jeff Bogus. And then we just hired a social media manager, Taylor Johnson, and then Cass, who is kind of our back end. She works on the financial stuff, but really helps us also stay very organized. And so that's our team of 7.
That's great. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot make your name everybody.
No, that's
but
good. It was good work.
It's significant, right?
Yes,
I mean, that's
it
important.
I was wondering if he was going to hit them all. That was good.
I got them all. Yeah.
We're a small team, but actually very large for a West Virginia video production company. You don't see too many people who specialize just in commercial video that have a team more than a couple people. A lot of people are just sole proprietors, just out there freelancing on their own. So I feel like we're kind of just forging a new path for what does this look like? How do we build a brand around this very specific thing that we do? But we've just had a lot of success with it, and I do think a lot of it is down to our commitment to just doing everything as if it was our project from the very beginning, putting our heart and soul into everything, and taking our filmmaking roots. And even if we're doing what would be a normally considered a boring commercial job, infusing something cinematic into that and making it something that we can enjoy, and then the added value to the clients as well. So
Absolutely.
And when we
for sure.
started, I never would have imagined 7 people.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really an honor to be able to work with a team like that, and just that everybody in their roles, they're so good at what they do, and they bring something to the table, and that's what's important to us.
It's a really important piece of the creative economy and your community, as well as the state as a whole, and just the idea that people with these kinds of skills and talents can come work with you all.
Yes.
Really significant,
Yeah.
So then how did you dream up the festival? How did that come about? At what point did you say, hey, let's put on a film festival?
I mean, I feel like we bounced it around, like at least the conversation of like, wouldn't it be neat if we did something like this for many years, maybe even back to when we first started.
Many years, because I think you and I both suffer from this inability to participate in any kind of event or go to a restaurant or watch any piece of artwork without being very critical of how everything is being done. And we're always talking about like, man, if we did it, what would it look like? And so we had this theoretical film festival in our head for, many, many years.
A long time.
Just with no means necessarily to make that happen.
Yeah.
And we did a little film sprint. What was that? 4 years ago?
Yeah, as part of festival.
Yeah, we did a 5-day film challenge, and that kind of like, I think really sparked in us, that was a very short amount of time to put it together, and the filmmakers only had 5 days to make the films, and then we showed them. And so that kind of got us thinking like, okay, well, we pulled off this little tiny event, like, what could that look like?
Yeah.
And then I think it was really Jason Young at the Robinson Grand, longtime friend of mine, approaching both of us, sitting us down and saying, hey, could the Robinson Grand be a partner in creating a new film festival? What would that look like? Are you guys interested? And we both were so excited.
And you were.
We weren't necessarily ready for that question, but at the same time, we had been rehearsing for years to say yes to this opportunity. We didn't have the venue, right? That's one of the harder things when it comes to just logistics and budget, to figure out like where can we host an event that actually has the sound and the video capabilities that we need to do this in the right way. And he came to us and said, we need more original program. We have too many things traveling through, and we don't have enough events that are our own creation. What do you guys think about a film festival?
Yeah.
And then we were like, we'll figure it out. Let's just make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, we have some really nice images of the Robinson Grand that we're going to show as we have this discussion. But let's talk about the Robinson Grand just for a minute as the venue for this, and then we're going to take a little sneak preview video inside the Robinson Grand for the film festival. But what about the theater is going to make a great home for this festival, besides Jason's spurring you on to take action and make it come into being?
Yeah, I mean, we really couldn't have asked for a better venue for what we're doing. We're so thankful to the Robinson Grand for wanting to partner with us. But I think Justin kind of hit on what makes the venue special, and it's the quality of everything that they did in that revitalization of that building. So you have the classic architecture, that classic skyline image of like what a theater like that looks like, but then you go inside and everything is done at the highest possible level. So when these, for us, when these filmmakers come and they get to see their films, on the screen, it looks good, it's bright, it sounds good, and then you get that amazing like feel of being in like a classic theater, the red seats, and it's just like that cinema, that thrill of going to the movies. You get all of that, and just we couldn't have asked for more.
Yeah, I would say too that it's not an accident that you sit in the theater and feel like there's something classic to it all, because it was built in 1913 originally. It has been around for over 100 years, and it's had many iterations. There were fires and other tragic events, and like many times that it's been built onto, but the bones of it are still there. And one thing that I think is really interesting about it in particular is in 1927, when the first talking pictures were introduced, and anyone who's seen like Singing in the Rain, you can see like a comedic example of like what people had to figure out when they started syncing sound to picture in movie theaters. But I think the Robinson Grand was one of the first in the country to actually install sound and have talkie capability in 1927, which is pretty amazing. They were actually really ahead on a lot of things, and a lot of films in West Virginia were debuted at the Robinson Grand specifically before any other place.
And nearly 100 years later, here comes the Mountain Craft Film Festival.
Yeah, you got amazing.
Let's mention real quickly just the four main films that are going to be featured during the festival, and then we'll take a look inside the theater. So what are the four films that have been, I know there are going to also be a number of short films and a lot of other things going on as part of the festival, but the four main features that were selected.
I'll let you take it away.
Okay, how about I do Friday and you do Saturday?
There you go.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Friday, our two feature films are going to be Country Brawlers by Curran Sheldon.
Okay.
And then we're going to follow that up with a film that a lot of people have been buzzing about, King Cole by Elaine McMillan Sheldon. And those are both documentaries.
Yep. And then on Saturday, we're going to start out with Impossible Town by Scott Ferris and Meg Griffiths. And then that's going to be followed up by O Pioneer, directed by Jonathan Lecoq and Claire Lehman. So, yeah, and they're both documentaries as well. But a fantastic, all four films, like, I just want to encourage people to come watch them because they are documentaries at their core, but they're all such different films and different experiences.
That's outstanding. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about each one of these films and also about how they really have a broad appeal to audiences in West Virginia and beyond. But before we get to that, let's go back to what you were saying about the Robinson Grand and kind of dive into the theater. And you guys made a little something that we're going to show right now that invites us to imagine what it will be like to be inside the Robinson Grand for the Mountain Craft Film Festival.
Mountain Craft is so excited to have you here at the Robinson Grand Performing Arts Center this coming September for our inaugural film festival. Now, we haven't done this before, and the theater, as you can see, is currently empty. So we'll have to speculate a little bit about what this will look like. Up top, the projector beam shoots down upon the screen like a ray of sunlight, delivering captivating images to an awe-stricken audience below. The cacophonous crackling of popcorn from the concession stand sends buttery notes adrift through the hallways, prompting a starving flock of moviegoers to stampede to the counter. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Upstairs, the sound of beer pouring from the taps is drowned out by laughter from our filmmakers lounge. Writers and directors chattering away about how to turn their next groundbreaking idea into a reality. IPA? There you go. You're welcome. And then in this majestic auditorium, the movie will play while the audience laughs along, gasps in surprise, and cheers in enchantment. Every emotion elicited from the silver screen in a dazzling display of movie magic so powerful, it has to be seen to be believed. Or at least, that's how we imagine it could happen.
Welcome back to ArtWorks, and thank you, Justin, for that tour of the Robinson Grand. I'm sold. I mean, I'm ready. I want to be there. I want to see the movies, and of course, taste the popcorn. That was really great. How did you? What did you have in mind when you guys put that together?
We brought on our new editor, Jeff Bogus, and he just kind of jumped in with both feet and started coming up with creative ideas. So we sort of collaborated on that one a little bit because we had a couple influences. One of which was actually an old preview for Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock walking around the set of the movie talking or alluding to the grisly things that happened here. And I always thought that's such a cool idea rather than just showing shots of the thing itself. Let's tease it a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so that's really what that came out of, but it also was born out of necessity because we haven't had a festival yet, so I can't show you film or video or pictures of anything that we're doing because it just hasn't happened. So we thought this was the next best thing, and to just kind of give people a little taste and hope that they show up and make that a reality at the end of September.
For sure. Well, thank you for sharing it with us. Really enjoyed seeing that. And truly, as I said, it makes you realize, like, this is going to the movies. This is a film festival, okay, and these are documentaries. But this experience is really about going to the movies. And as I look, just to the degree that I'm familiar with the films that are going to be showing, it just feels to me like there's subject matter here that's really for everybody. And I just was wondering if you would talk a little bit about how you feel, who you think the audience is for this, and what your hopes are in terms of who participates.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we really hope that the audience for this is wide, because this is for people who like watching films of any caliber, whether you like going and seeing big Hollywood premieres or whether you like watching home movies at home with family. Like, we want people to come experience these stories. These filmmakers, both on the short film side and the features, put their lives into this work. And so to see their films, one, projected properly and sounding amazing in a cinema is amazing, but to have an audience laughing and gasping and reacting to your film, there's something for the filmmaker that you can't replicate that. And so, one, we want a full audience, but two, we want it to be accessible. Anybody that enjoys coming to the movie should come and see these works, experience new types of film. Maybe you don't watch a lot of music videos, on a regular basis, but come see what people in the Appalachian region are doing and see how they're portraying their art, in this format. So we want everybody to come.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We can't really stress that enough, because I feel there sometimes is a perception that film festivals are for filmmakers, and it's where you go and you're awarded and for the work that you've done. But it's really a desire, I think, of most filmmakers to make this art and share it with others. And that includes, of course, non-filmmakers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So sitting in that room and having that communal experience that I think a lot of us missed over COVID, is just so important. And I remember even as a student filmmaker, when I had my first showing in a film festival, getting that immediate feedback and hearing audience reacting to the thing that I made was really special.
That's amazing.
So, but it's also really special as an audience member, because you're going to see films that you're not going to see anywhere else.
Yes.
This is a very unique screening experience.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, how do people buy tickets? Do you just show up at the Robinson Grand? I think the tickets are available on the Robinson Grand website. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, you can buy them on the Robinson Grand website. They're the main ticket holder, and they're helping us out with that. And we're calling them actually passes, because that was something that we talked a little bit about. Some film festivals sell a ticket to each individual screening, but we really wanted, at least for this first year, people to experience whole days of the festival. So we're calling them passes, and you can either buy a 1 or 2 day pass on their website, and then we have links littered everywhere, and then you should be able to buy a pass the day of as well. Or maybe we'll sell out, and then there won't be any available. That would be amazing.
So get it done now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Great. And the filmmakers, are you expecting all to attend?
Yeah.
Yes, so right now I'm pleased to say that all of our feature filmmakers will be with us. In many cases, the cast members and people who were featured in prominent ways in those films will also be in attendance.
That's cool.
And we're planning to do Q&As at the end of every screening for the feature films. We'll have up to an hour to let the audience members chat and ask questions and learn more about how, the behind the scenes of that filmmaking process. And all of the films are very different, so I imagine that with each one, it'll be a very different experience. And even our short films, the great majority of our filmmakers that submitted those are going to be in attendance with us as well. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it should be. And it's a small thing, but it was important to us. We'll also have a different color on their passes. So when you see people at the festival who are filmmakers, they'll be easily recognizable from a distance, and we're encouraging everybody to interact with them and ask questions and get involved.
Yeah, because it's
fantastic,
important, to have that dialogue with your audience and be able to talk to people, and people come up and ask you questions, about your film, or just give input. Again, because some of these are student filmmakers, and so they're just starting their filmmaking career. So to have that ability and that access to a live audience that can, create that dialogue it's huge.
I think as an audience member and a community member too, that just enhances the whole sort of local and participatory aspect of this. That's pretty unique, really, to be able to come and have that degree of interaction.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. Glad to hear that. Yeah. Well, we don't have a lot of time left, but let's talk about these 4 featured films that you mentioned earlier, and then if we have a little bit of time, I'd love to hear too, also about just some of the short films and where they came from and what some of the other activities will be going on around the festival.
Perfect.
But you mentioned King Cole.
Yes.
That's one of the films. What can you tell us in a little bit more detail about that? What should we know about that? Who wants to go?
One thing that I've said is true about a couple of these documentaries in particular that we're showing this year is that they are not the format that you expect when you hear it's a documentary film. King Cole is very meditative art piece that took many years of exploration to make. And we've both had the privilege of seeing a preview screening of it. And it features these 2 young girls who are dancers, and it's also just kind of not a quiet meditation, but like taking a step back and looking at like how the region has been affected by coal up to this point, and figuring out what our future looks like and how we mourn the death of King Cole, so to speak, and like what is it that's left? What is our story to tell as we go forward? I don't want to speak too much for the filmmakers, of course.
Yeah, but it's not experimental. It's experiential in the format.
To a degree, I would say it is experimental as well, because you hear documentary, and I often think talking heads and B-roll, and this is not that film. It's something very, very different. It is super unique experience and extremely well done. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a beautiful work from Elaine, who's been a friend of ours for a few years. Just seeing her grow as a filmmaker, and then to have this film, because she's done traditional documentary work, and to see this just kind of, I don't know, blossom in creativity. Like every facet of it has been thought through, and it explores a different way, that she and the region interact with coal, which is just kind of a part of the fabric again of the region. So yeah, it's phenomenal.
And she has the track record to explore this issue, and I've really enjoyed hearing your description of it. I can't wait to see it. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. And then we have Country Brawlers.
Yes.
What do we know about that one?
That's a pretty stark contrast to King Cole, but we put them on the same night because, of course, Curran Sheldon is involved in both of those films. And so this was a film that I'll just kind of put it succinctly. It is a boxing film about amateur professional, like lower level professional boxers in Central Appalachia. This film particularly, it highlights mostly people in Eastern Kentucky. And there's this trainer named Corky who we're seeing right now. And he's just a very quirky character, and watching him as he kind of encourages these very typical Appalachian men with Appalachian problems and very relatable kind of messy lives, straighten themselves up and make something of themselves, and pushes them the way you would expect a trainer to do. I'm not personally into boxing very much, so when this was put in front of us, I thought this isn't going to be my thing necessarily, and I was immediately hooked by the characters. So there's a story arc here that I promise is very entertaining to a broad audience, no matter where your interests lie. It's kind of a fun thing to watch. It was originally supposed to be part of a series, but then ended up becoming a film, and I think it also was one of those things where it took 3 or 4 years for it to find its final form that it took. So there's a lot of time invested in that story as well.
Yeah, and I'm not a boxing fan by any means either, and seeing the screener, it's just so amazing how all these films have such interesting Appalachian values, Appalachian themes that run through them, just in so many different lenses. Like you're looking at, the sport of boxing. But again, as Justin mentioned, they're going through very typical Appalachian things, Appalachian problems, and just the characters that they were able to find in the best possible way. Like, these are amazing human beings that are just living this sport of pro boxing and training boxers, and it's really fun.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned, you may have mentioned this already, but these films have been not seen really either nowhere else or almost nowhere else, right? These are really sort of first opportunity chances to see these films.
Yeah, they're all just kind of starting what will be their festival, circuits.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the case of Country Brawlers, this will be, I believe, maybe the first place to premiere the film.
Yeah.
You can't even find that much information online about it yet, but we're right at the cusp of it.
But you can come to the Robinson Grand and
Absolutely.
see it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and not to downplay any of the short films, but these feature films, I mean, they are amazing, huge caliber films. I mean, these are going to go on to play in really big festivals, and like King Cole has already played at Sundance. So like all 4 of these films, that's the caliber that every single night you're going to be getting 2 films that can play at Sundance.
For sure.
And just amazing.
Yeah. So that was the Friday films, and then on Saturday, Impossible Town?
Yeah, Impossible Town is another, again, documentary film, and so just to give a little background, we met the filmmakers when they first started making this film, and they kind of gave us a little bit of insight into what they were filming and showed us a sizzle, and it's like, oh, cool, it's about a town moving and, some of the intricacies of that. And we stayed in touch with the filmmakers as they were making it and helped out with some different things on the production. And then to see what the final film turned out to be. I mean, I think it took them over 4 years to film the entire film. And they did such a tremendous job of following the story and really just being a fly on the wall to what was happening, not necessarily creating a story, but following it. And I'm really excited to see what the reactions are to the film and what the dialogue is after, because I'll be honest, some of it's hard, living in this region and seeing some of the things in this film. It's just difficult. So I'm excited to see like what the dialogue that spurs, from the audience. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. And as you say, they were here over a long period of time, including during COVID.
Yes.
And really had to follow that story along. There's a lot more to say about that one, but we're running low on time. So let's talk about O Pioneer.
Yes.
And then we'll have to wrap it up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, O Pioneer, there's so many things I could say about it. Jonathan and Claire are such good friends of ours, and to see their vision come out, because we know them as animators from Coat of Arms. Mm-hmm. So they do animation, they do amazing world-class, motion work, and to see their documentary lens on these 3 characters that they chose to follow, woven in with some of the pieces that you're seeing on screen right now. These are still, but these move in the actual documentary, and it's just another gorgeous look at a different slice of West Virginia. And just their take on the pioneer and redefining that. And again, I'm not giving a whole lot away about the film, but it's so good.
Yeah, it follows some individuals.
It does.
It follows 3 specific characters.
Yeah.
And in telling their stories will make you feel emotions that maybe you haven't felt before. They made me feel things I couldn't describe, including mostly just pride in our region and knowing what we're capable of and how awesome Appalachian people actually are and why we're deserving of these kinds of stories.
I think it's a great point to end on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ike, so much for making the trip, and thank you for the work that you've done on the festival. I look forward to seeing you there. I want to encourage everybody to look up on the Robinson Grand about how to attend themselves. And I wish you the very best.
Perfect.
Thanks
Thank you
so
for
much.
having us. Appreciate it.
And thank you for joining us for this episode of ArtWorks. Please tune in next time to explore the vibrant art scene in West Virginia and to discover more about the artists living and working in your community. Until then, we encourage you to enjoy, support, and participate in the arts wherever you happen to be.